I need everybody to commit and make a decision, though, to a greater level of success. You may not be an owner. You may just say, you know what? I'm here and I'm just a salesman. Some guy paid for me to be here. I don't even know if I want to be here. But let me just point something out. This is a great freaking job. You don't have to work crazy hours like somebody selling a car. Any of you who've ever been in a dealer, you've watched those guys. Who in the world wants to be out there with some guy who has no credit trying to close him at 11 p.m. at night? Does anybody in this room know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've done that.
Hoping for a commission. Just hoping. Just to find out that nobody thinks this guy can pay for this car. Nobody. And you're like, do you have an aunt that can co-sign? Do you have anybody? And he's like, no. And you've spent your whole day and your wife's blowing you up, or your husband's blowing you up. When are you going to come home? Your girlfriend, whoever it is, your boyfriend. And they want to know when you're coming home. You don't have that issue with this job. Also, you may go, Aaron, but we get yelled at. People hate us. They blame us for everything that breaks in their car. They may do that. That's true. They do get frustrated. But as long as you're right, who cares? I don't care. It took me years to finally get to where it was just water off of a duck's back. I didn't buy it. I didn't build it. I didn't break it. I didn't design it. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm just here to save the day for you. I am your knight in shining armor. You may not know it yet, but you're about to. And you just got to understand, you've got to be there for their situation. You got to help them. So I think that's awesome. You sold that big, the $10,000 ticket? So I love, Mike has a great line. Why would you throw, let's say, $10,000? No, I'm sorry. Why would you throw $50,000 at a $10,000 problem? And it's amazing the way you did that. But let's be real. If they don't buy from you, they're going to go down the street. Some pimple-faced kid's going to sell them a Suburban for $75,000. And they're going to justify it. And they wouldn't spend $3,500 with you. And they're going to go into all that debt. And 8 years from now, they will still be paying $850 a month on that one decision. Just wrap your head around that. If you believe in families being free, if you believe in families not having to deal with this stuff, if you believe in them being able to have a future, it's not strapped by debt, then you need to understand that sometimes they need to pull out their credit card and pay for a little debt and get this car repair taken care of and get out of debt quickly so they don't go into big debt. And you have a moral obligation. I need you to decide and commit to be successful when you go home. You have an obligation to tell the freaking truth, which is you are buying miles, fix your stupid car. Don't let them give you that excuse. Oh, it's not worth it. This $2,000 Honda Accord isn't worth putting a $3,000 engine in. Yes, it is. It doesn't matter if I put $3,000 into an Accord that's only worth $2,000. Does this Accord that's only worth $2,000 have great tires? Does it have great brakes? Does it have a windshield without a crack? Does it have a great interior, a great exterior? Does it have no dents, no scratches? The headliner's still up? The sunroof still works? Has cold air? But another one that's also worth $2,000 somehow does not have cold air, does not have a headliner that's up, doesn't have a sunroof that works, has a cracked windshield. Do you see where I'm going? Values mean nothing. So why in the world do you let that dictate how you sell a repair? You cannot do it that way. You are buying miles for the particular piece of sheet metal that's sitting in front of you right now. So Mr. or Mrs. Customer, do you want to buy these miles for $2,100, $3,500? I don't care what it is. Do you want to buy these miles? Some of you get hung up on it. Why would I want to put money into this car? Now, don't get me wrong. You get a car, it comes in, it's a piece. It's a bad car. You're going to quote the safety. You're going to do the deal. You know what I'm talking about. But a lot of us get into a situation where we get hung up on values. How many here have got hung up on value just to find out it was a husband or a wife or a father that died that used to own the car, now they're offended that you wouldn't take care of it? Anybody had that happen? I've had it happen. And they're scolded like in their heart, like they're really burned by what you just did. They're offended. I would encourage you to enter into those conversations and just assume the car's worth it every time. They are buying miles. You think because you're in the auto industry, everybody knows that this car, I don't know, let's just say a Toyota 4Runner 2008, you might say is worth $8,000. The thing might need an engine, and it's going to push, they just paid $6,000 for it, now going to push it to $12,000. You know this. They don't know that it's only worth $8,000. They might think it's worth $15,000. They don't have a clue. Their neighbor may have sold it to them for a deal. You don't know. Just go into it knowing you know more than them. Well, Aaron, what about the enthusiast? What about the guy that knows this? What about the guy that knows that? I don't care about them. They're the outliers. You deal with them when they happen. You don't plan for them to happen, and then when it blows up in your face, go, oh, I knew it. And run around and panic. I need you to understand that you have to commit to success when you leave here. Every one of you can go back and make 80 grand, 100 grand a year, 120 grand a year. It's just a decision. It's a decision. If you can go home and sell $120,000 a month, $1.4 million a year, there are shops all over the country that will pay you a lot of money to do that. And if your owner, who's currently in our program, isn't willing to pony up, call me on my cell phone, 615-424-6547, and that is my real cell phone. I'm not playing. You guys have to understand. See, I said it really quick. I knew I could tell the truth, and you wouldn't get it. I need you guys to, I got to get around this thing. Am I good? No, I'm not good. You ran it through the hoop? It's in the hoop. What do you mean you can't say no? You did. Just... I'm going to figure this out. This will be entertaining. So, in your heart, we there? Yeah. You have in your heart integrity, and you're not trying to take advantage of them. You're trying to do it the right way. So if you're going to do it the right way, you've got to make sure that you show up. And if you're going to show up, you've got to convince this customer this is the move they need to make. Now, who here remembers getting inside of the bubble? Good, you actually watched. So somebody said to me the bubble the other day. I was like, it ain't a bubble. It's a line on the right, like a parenthesis, and a line on the left. It's not a full circle. So if you get inside the pocket and you know you're in the pocket, you can lead that horse to water. You can get them to do whatever you want to do if you choose to lead. And if you're not slimy and if you're appropriate. Anybody here ever go buy furniture at a furniture store and deal with a salesman there? Let me give you an idea. Let me give you an idea of how a furniture store works. You have a 25,000 square foot building with 4 employees. You ever notice that? You walk in, there's no one in there. And $1 million worth of furniture sitting on the ground. And only maybe 8 cars in the parking lot. And it's always in a parking lot with 500 parking spaces. You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, there's no one here. How much profit must that furniture have in it to be able to pay for that massive building? I mean, think about it. That's crazy. And they sell it to you without guilt, without shame. Do they not? And 90 days, same as cash, and hey, we'll throw in this ottoman and this throw pillow, we'll do this. Anybody here ever been conned at the furniture store? Right now you're thinking, okay, 2 of you. The rest of you shop on Goodwill? What's the deal? What? Did you teach on this? Oh, this is awesome. So not only did I get to say I'm not you, I get to steal your lesson.
But you kind of are her.
Now I am. So I did not know that. That's great. Good job, Melanie. Great subject. Good idea to think on that one. Oh, is it 60 months now? Do we have any bottles of water in here? Could I have one, please? So what I want to suggest to you is that you think about everything you may do that may cause you to be around somebody that's on commission. Anybody here ever go to Men's Warehouse? Specifically men in the room. And did you realize after 3 guys tripped over each other to get to you that they're probably on commission? And then they're like, would you like a $75 overpriced belt with these $400 of shirts you just bought? I mean, it's everything from the shoes, you name it. Johnston Murphy's like that. A lot of Neiman Marcus and these fancy Macy's, they'll have certain sections, ladies, where you go to buy a dress, and this girl's like all over you. Like, why won't she leave me alone? She's on commission. Why is she on commission? Because commission is what makes the world go round. Anybody hear about The Greatest Salesman? Y'all ever seen that video where Paul Harvey does this thing? Y'all know who Paul Harvey is, the old radio guy? He'd be like, Paul Harvey, and he'd go, good day, at the end. So he's like, without a sale, he has a scratchy voice. He's like, without a salesman, the farmer doesn't buy seed. And without the salesman, the farmer doesn't get a tractor. And without a salesman, the tractor man can't get the parts. And without a salesman, the tractor man can't get his parts from the country overseas. And without the salesman, they can't sell the ticket on the ship. And without a salesman, and he just goes from thing to thing to thing. And the end of the story is that basically everything you get down to the pile of corn on your plate was brought to you by a salesman. The entire world needs coaxing, needs encouragement to make the decision, needs encouragement to decide this is a good move. Because everybody's doubting, they're not sure. That's where you step in. You're confidence bringers. You're the ones bringing the knowledge to say, this is a great decision. You're the one saying, this is what we need to do. If you don't do that, what ends up happening is these people are afraid. They're afraid to try. So see, here's the deal. If you can get to where you can sell 1 million for a year, it's 120,000 consistently a month. That's like 80,000 a month on a bad month. That's you getting all the way up to 140, 150 on a big month. You should be able to, in a very poor market with a very low GP, if your market just doesn't have the ability to support, be able to make 80 grand if you can do that consistently. If you did it only twice in the last 6 months, you can't go back to your boss and say that. You can't. But if you can do it consistently, if you can get an entire year and sell by yourself 1.4, and then the manager sells another, 300,000-400,000, and then the parts manager maybe sells another 500,000, and together the store can do almost 2 million, you can make that kind of money. But you have to be able to sell it. If you just get to 65, 70,000 every month, and that's what you do every month, and every now and then 80, you're not even $1 million player yet. You're an 800 to 900K player. And guess what you are at that level? You're average. Maybe a notch above. You're average. The difference in being average and exceptional, you may go, well, Aaron, that's 40,000 more to get to be exceptional. It is. However, here's the difference. Let me back you up for a second. The difference in average and exceptional is minor little changes at work. We have to do it with our staff. You have to do it with people you work with. They've had to do it with you. It's answering the phone correctly when you don't want to, when you're exhausted and you're tired. But what you don't know is Monday may have no car count. And you need those extra cars. And it's been the most insane week. You need to collect them on Friday. You need to get them over the curb because you don't know that Monday's about to suck. And that's what makes Monday not suck. That makes it kind of a slow word day. You catch some stuff up, but it's not awful. Now, when it comes to understanding, well, let me pause. I got to get a drink. It's distracting me. When it comes to understanding that you're trying to make a decision to get to the next level in your career and make more money, and you want to win, you want the owner to win, you want the technicians to win, there's several barriers to this. I've seen a lot of advisors that get to 70 to 90,000 a month, and they're going to make 45 to 65,000 a year. They're just going to do okay. They're never going to get that big money. For that advisor, though, to get big money, they have to get up into the 80s, like a bad month, the 100,000 range all the time, and really starting to hit that $120, $140 on really big months. And how do you do that? It's little adjustments. When the wheels are coming off the bus, you remember your training. I'm going to move the magnet on the board. I'm going to make sure I enter everything on the tracker. Why? Because if I enter it on the tracker right then, I can look at it with my own 2 eyes and I can see it and go, that's how much money I'm about to make. That's clicking for me. I'm connecting that dot. If I move that magnet, I know I haven't forgotten. I don't need to ask my boss what to do. The board is my boss. It tells me what to do next. I trust my training. Then once you've trusted your training and then you get someone on the phone that's difficult and you're trying to connect with this person. Matt, will you shut those doors for me? Thank you. Whenever you're trying, I always feel weird when the doors are open. I want to yell. And somebody out there is going to hear somebody yelling about auto repair and it's going to make no sense and it's going to be really weird. So I don't want to do that. But if you want to make more money, you have to take on more responsibility. More responsibility means more repair. It means more cars. So if you want to win and hit levels you've not hit before, you have to get more cars into the building. You have to say yes to more people. You have to handle more and not burn yourself out. The only way you don't burn yourself out is you have to mentally start to let go of the customers, and you have to trust the system. Some of you that are in really small shops, 60, 70,000 a month or below, those shops, you're like, why do I even need a system? I can memorize it all in my head. But when you try to take the memorize it all in my head with you to a larger shop and you start doing 100 to 120, all of a sudden you can't remember it. And you're trying still, though. And when you're still trying, your brain's remembering about 50, 60%, and in the other 30 to 40% you're not, which causes stress. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? And when you can't remember and you can't connect those dots, and you're like, oh, whoa, 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 and you realize right then, I've not been relying on what my training has told me to do, my systems, instead I've been relying on my memory, which memory makes a great advisor, by the way. When you start trying to lean on memory too much and memory starts to break down, you start to switch between system memory, system memory, system memory. I need you to totally let go of your memory and trust the system. A notepad right there at your desk, making sure that you've got the board system working, you're entering all the notes when the customer says it right then, doing things now, whether it's efficient or not. A lot of people don't, I don't know, I get mad when I think about it. People will say, this isn't efficient to do this. I want to walk back here with 4 clipboards at once. If the technician is not doing anything, I know it's not efficient for you. Even in our shop, you can ask Tracy, our shop, it's a 100-foot walk for her. But when you walk back there and drop that ticket off, the business as a whole, now all of a sudden somebody is billing. Somebody's creating value. But when you wait till you have 4 tickets up front to take 4 at a time in the back, the technician's back there screwing around on Craigslist or on Facebook, and by the time you give him all those, now he has to speed up and get into gear. 18 minutes ago, if you got it back there, he might have been walking back up with 1 ticket ready to be sold 18 minutes later. But you would say to yourself, yeah, but I had to get up and walk back there. But here's the difference. There also may have been a few things the customer would have said to you that aren't on your clipboard, or if you're digital, whatever, aren't in the notes, that you're just thinking about, that you could have gotten to the technician because the conversation was still fresh and said it, and all of it would have been conveyed. And 18 minutes later, the ticket's back up front in sellable condition with nothing missed. The other scenario, you wait till it's efficient for you, not efficient for the business, but for you, which is being selfish. The tickets pile up, you take them all back there. You don't remember. 3 more customers have now come through the shop. You get back there, you give him all 4. He goes, oh crap, he starts racing through them. That first guy said something verbal that was a clue that has now hung up that technician. Hey, I took it to the shop, they did this, this, and this, and you didn't put it in the notes, or hey, I did this, and I want you to do that. Check that out for me too. Oh yeah, crap, I've already printed it. I'll have to go back and add that, or I need to go put that in the system. I don't have time. There's the customer right behind you. It doesn't matter what it is. You've got to do it right then. And especially if you have a line of customers. That's just something I was big on when I had one shop. I one time did exactly what I'm describing. I wrote it all down. I had a line of customers. I got done, and I had 6 tickets entered, and I couldn't remember the note. I started having to go so fast, I couldn't remember which note was for which guy and which car. I just tried to attempt it, messed it all up. A lot of people got angry with me. I tried something different the next time I had a rush. Mr. Customer, give me 1 second. Let me just write this in. I don't want to forget it. I took 30 seconds and keyed it in. And guess what happened? Nothing went wrong on that ticket. The most efficient thing you can do is to just stop and do it now. Stop and do it now. Get up, walk back there, and take care of the rest of the team. See, your company only makes money, and your boss can only give you a raise, and you can only get a commission check, and you can only get a bonus if the business is creating value at that moment. How does it create value? By only one way, fixing cars. So if a technician's twiddling his thumbs and it wasn't efficient for you to go back there now and talk to him and give him a key or pull a car around or do whatever it is you're supposed to do because you wanted it to be efficient for you, because honestly you were being selfish, that technician now is not going to be able to make you as much money and give you as big of a bonus check, because who's your check tied to? You're supposed to answer at that point. It's like the technician. Expensive technicians make you a lot of money. High producing technicians make you a lot of money. And they're hard to find. And they know when they have a good advisor. When you put the whole ticket together right, you tell the customer everything. Do you know how it makes a technician feel when he knows you didn't tell the customer everything and you left stuff off? He can tell by the way the job got sold. It sets him up for failure. I'll give you an example. Technician goes and says, it needs front axles, also needs axle seals, it also needs valve covers, AC needs to be charged, blah, blah, blah. You sell the axles and not the axle seals, which are super easy to do. It's out. He's like, why would they not sell the axle seals? He complains, says something to a few people, but it ultimately doesn't get to the right people, so nothing happens. Okay, nothing happens. Eventually, one day, the owner starts sniffing around after a few bad months and starts going through tickets. Why do we not have axle seals sold? Oh, well, it turns out the writer was just trying to get the biggest commission with the most GP, and the customer had an extra $100, but that extra $100 was better applied on a cabin filter or whatever to get the writer GP money, but not to get the customer a better experience. And this always gets exposed because 6 months later, a different tech or the same tech looks at it. The other writer says, why would they have said that to you, Mrs. Customer? And then they realize they shouldn't have let that come out of their mouth. And now you, the other writer over at a different desk, are exposed. See, the way you make a lot of money as a service advisor is you stop thinking about you and you start thinking about the shop. And what happens is when you think about the shop, then the shop takes care of you. And it takes care of you and then some, because everybody goes, man, she is really needed. Man, he is really needed. If we don't have them, we are screwed. They know it. They know who's buttering their bread. You have to make sure, though, that you're always that person. So now that I know I've got a screen I can work with, can you turn those cameras on? So if you can imagine, every single one of you, I think that if you think about how you've grown the shop and been a part of the success of the shop and what you've been able to pull off, you're probably pretty proud of your achievements. You're proud of maybe some tools you've learned from us that you've been able to apply. Maybe you haven't applied it all yet, but you're getting there, and it's cool to see it come together. But what if you could really take it to the next level? What if you could get the technicians on your side? Does anybody here ever have issues with technicians? The rest of you are lying. Okay. As a past technician and a past advisor, I know both sides are a little crazy, but here you are as an advisor. You're like, he really does draw stick figures. And back here, we've got our car up on the lift, right? You know, really good-looking car. Really nice. Short technician. We like to hire short technicians. There's this flashlight shining up. And so he's back here working on the car. Here you are. You're all tall and handsome or pretty. And you've got your counter and you got your computer. And so you're up here doing your thing. You're about to call your customer. Let's pretend, like we did in the old days, right? Where there's a cord. That's the only way you know it's a phone. I still draw that and y'all know. So you're on the phone. You're doing your thing. You're talking to your customer. Your customer is over here. And the customer is saying something like, I don't know, this doesn't sound right to me. Let me call my cousin Vinny. He talks to mechanics like you all the time, and he'll know the best answer. And they're really shocked at the price you just told them. And you're like, oh yeah, I got him. And so, and the technician's always unhappy. It's too busy. It's too slow. It's just right. No, they never say that, do they? No. Now, when they're here, I can crack a joke about y'all, so don't get too offended. So if you can follow me, though, what ends up happening is this person here wants to work with you under certain conditions. One of the main conditions you're going to do is you're going to pull off learning how to be a leader. And the way you pull off being a leader is you start to practice a few things in your life, some things like discipline. Now, I understand some of you may smoke and you may take your breaks at certain times, but let me point something out. If the shop is blown out and the technician is really stressed, is this a great time to go take a smoke break and stand in the bay right in front of him where your smoke is floating into his bay? Just roll with me on that. Is it a great time for you to go out and sit in your car and watch the shop burn to the ground with the AC running, just going, those suckers? I mean, I've seen a good technician go to get in their car and leave in their street clothes, out of their uniform, have a car come in that needs its oil change, then walk right back in and go, hey guys, I know y'all are blown out. You want me to just do that oil change for you real quick? And how do you get a technician to think and do that for you? The only way you get a technician to do that is for a technician to see that you're sacrificing for them. It's give and give, right? So you need to practice discipline in your life and pay attention to the times you can and can't say something. So here's one of the ways, and I do this with owners, but one of the ways you can really do this is if a tech comes to you and complains about another technician, should you go, oh yeah, he does suck? That's called what? G-O-S-S-I. What's that last letter? P. So when that technician comes to you and complains, who do you direct them to? Person they're complaining about, the manager, etc. You can't send them just to you by saying, oh yeah, they suck. You should have been here that one time. They did blah, blah, blah. You can't do that. You must practice discipline. You're going to want to gossip. It's a small group. You get to be a family. Everybody knows everything about everybody. You must believe the best. You may go, Aaron, but that technician sucks. I get it. You've got to believe the best about them. You've got to send them down the proper channels. Because if you get known as a person in the office that runs their mouth, what happens? Do people trust you? But if people say, man, I can tell them anything, and it never comes back to me, they know they can trust you. So a service advisor needs something called trust when it comes to customers. But a service advisor also needs something called trust when it comes to technicians, and they need it even more. The only way you get trust is by practicing discipline. Now, you may think that's it, but if you do this long enough, what's going to start to happen is this guy here is going to start to see you doing something else that's going to cause a different action. As he sees you do the hard things, push through the customer yelling at you, not letting the customer get to the technician to yell at them. You standing up and protecting your team, defending your technician. When they talk bad about the shop's work, saying that's not how we do work here, blah, 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 and you come back and you say all these things, that technician, is he going to respect you for fighting for him? They're going to know. Have y'all ever noticed that if you ever run out to a shop or to a technician and tell them that you just gave the work away for free to make up for something that went wrong, that the technician gets really pissed about it? It almost blows up in your face. You never run out there and tell them. If you give something away for free, you just give it away. The owner and you know about it, or the manager and you, but you never tell the technician because they don't even want to do a good job now because they're mad. And that can come through subconsciously, like they can just come back with a few extra bolts when they're done. No big deal. You joke, but we've all seen it. So if they see you practicing discipline, that leads to them trusting you, and then that leads to them respecting you. Now, if they respect you, are they willing to do things for you? Favors? Hey, can you just help me out and put this headlight bulb in? Can you help me out and just take care of this one issue? Can you help me out? I've got an emergency. Anybody here ever have a car come back in, not the technician's fault, and you just need somebody to help you make this problem go away right now? They will not do that for you if you don't do things for them. And you may go, Aaron, I don't get it. I don't want to be nice to them. They're mean to me. I don't like them very much. They yell at me. They get mad. They lose their cool. Let me just remind you, a lot of them are working in the cold, working in the hot, while you're sitting in your cozy office. They're getting rained on. They're going out and replacing ignition locks in cars and doing repairs with battery boxes out in the parking lot, sometimes because the car won't move inside, pushing them inside, getting burned, getting power steering fluid all over their clothes, having to burn those out in the backyard because they can't even put them in the washer and dryer, busting their knuckles. Think about it. It's a hard job. But hey, you're in the stress sandwich. You got the technician's pressure and you got the customer pressure. I get it. They're both tough. But you must respect their side. And if you respect their side, what ends up happening is they respect you. Now here's the kicker of all this. This right here is the one thing that will finally get them to receive from you. And the way this works is if you practice discipline, they will learn to trust you, they will then respect you, and they will receive from you. And what does it look like when they receive from you? When you go out there and you hand them one more waiter for the day. I know you love me, Bob. Here's the oil filter. We've all been there. If you want them to respect you, even if you know nothing about cars, and let me just pause on that for a second. How many of you here feel intimidated by your technicians because you don't know as much about cars and you feel like they look down on you? Just a small handful. They do not respect you for what you know about cars, so stop trying to earn their respect through that reasoning. They respect you for the discipline you practice. See, let me give you an analogy here. Do you respect a football player that jumps out and catches the ball one-handed and lands in the end zone and falls and slides? You may go, wow, that was incredible. And there was 8 people all over him. He jumped super high. The reason you respected him was because you know he worked out like crazy. He runs all the time. He jumps all the time. He eats perfect. He doesn't allow himself to do anything to mess up his athletic ability 24/7. They perform at such a higher level than they did 50 years ago. The pressure they're under is insane. And you know that, and therefore you respect them because you know you could never do it. So when you know that and you see that and you connect those dots and you're like, oh my gosh, man, that's nuts. Look what that guy just did. They're going to do the same thing with you because they're not talking to customers. 90% of the technicians out there are afraid of customers. They hate confrontation. They'll have it with you, but you bring a customer back there and they start looking at the ground and kicking the ground and, oh, shucks, and that's what they do. Do they not? Why do you think they like working on cars? Because they're afraid of people. Let me point out something about our industry. Our industry is full of people like myself, and some of you in the room, that came from a rough background, that were never told good job, were never told they were worth anything. And one day when they tried to fix the lawnmower in the backyard and they were able to fix it and someone said to them, good job, I can't believe you just did that. That's amazing. It felt good. And they ran out right then and they tried it on a go-kart. They tried it on an ATV or a motorcycle or a small little Honda or their buddy's car. And they tried to do a timing belt with a buddy with some parts from AutoZone out in some guy's driveway, not knowing at all what they're doing, probably timed it 2 or 3 teeth off, but they just tried to figure it out just so someone would say, good job. Chasing affirmation. What you don't realize is a lot, I would say 90% of people that are very good at fixing things and solving problems are addicted to affirmation. They are addicted to people saying, good job. They're addicted to praise. They need it and they'll never get enough of it. What happens if you start praising them and telling them good job? Even if they're 30 years older than you. They just swell up. I mean, their wife's probably criticizing them at home. Their kids are criticizing them. Maybe or if it's a girl, I've had some girl technicians that were just as grumpy as guys. So it just ends up happening. It's when they're out there. Just something does, it's the grease. It does something to them. But what ends up happening is they get frustrated and they're just under pressure. You got to remember, a technician's viewpoint is fixed, broken, fixed, broken, fixed, broken. They don't see gray. They get very black and white. So because of that, they judge you in a black and white way. Remember, they came probably from a rough background. You may go, yeah, but they had this, this, and this, and they went to a great school, and they had all that. Everything looked fine. But what you may or may not know is mom or dad may have never said good job to them. They may have looked at their grades and said, is that all? Can't you do better? We've all been there. See, you don't realize it, but you're in a quasi-leadership role up front, even if you're not the manager. They're looking to you to lead. So you don't got to lead the business plan. You don't got to lead some big thing, but you can lead the day. Guys, we're going to crush it today. We're going to crush it. I'm going to sell the crap out of these tickets. Oh, crap, I hope I do. But when you go and you say that, they get excited. They're like, okay, we can do this. And they see you practice discipline. They see you answer the phone the same way every time. They see you follow the script. They see you do the stuff. Can you turn this camera back on? And when they see you doing that and they see you acting with discipline over and over, then they say, man, I can trust this person because they know that you're not gossiping. They hear it go to you, and it stops with you. And then they start to really respect you because they see you put up with a lot of crap and you protect them from the customer. That's what they want. Especially if you do show and sells, your job is to get the customer to say, how much, then get them the heck out of there. Don't leave them out there for 30 minutes because Johnny all of a sudden has somebody that likes him and they just want to chat it up. We've all been there. I've got some technicians that are as shy as they can be, and then all of a sudden, they hit it off and they hit another gear, and you're like, okay, Bill, come on. You're like, dude, we got to make money here. And so you got to pull them away. Your job is to keep that clock turning, keep everybody making money, get that yes coming. But if you get that respect from them, they will receive from you. And guess what? That means every waiter, every bad ticket, every customer that you need a favor for free, you name it, they're going to be there for you. Which then in turn allows you to sell $100,000 to $120,000 a month. And every now and then, maybe even $140. You can do it. There's nothing stopping you from hitting $1.8 million. I heard about a writer in ShopFix that did $1.8 million. $1.8 million. That guy, $150,000, $160,000 a month. There's nothing stopping you. Take really good care. If you have a parts manager, take really good care of them. Take really good care of your owner and let them take care of you. And you may go, Aaron, I don't know as much. It's going to be a while. That's okay. Maybe it takes you 3 or 4 years to get there. That's okay. Just see this. You just got to keep getting improvement. Keep getting improvement. I had a bad month this month. Okay, it's okay. But is the next month better? Do I still have a trend going up? The one problem that I see a lot of salesmen get hung up on is they think they're only as good as their last month, and that's not true. They'll see themselves do 90, 90, 95, 97, 80. I suck. And they just go into like a... Why do you think a salesman gets into a slump and they can't sell? It's up here. Yeah, it's attitude. You get into it and you can't shake it off. You have to get that out of your head. And this ties directly into you carrying the burden of the customer. So your job is on the phone with that customer to hear it, understand it, be like, oh my gosh, that sucks. $3,500 out of your wallet. That's awful. That sounds so painful. I get it. Oh man, that's awful. Yeah, I know, but we got to do it. It's going to be rough. I'll hold your hand. Let's go together. Okay, you ready? Let's jump. It's going to be great. And then you fake it, and they jump off by themselves. And they jump off, and you don't go with them. You hang up the phone because it ain't your $3,500. You don't got to spend the money. So your goal is to get them to spend that money, get that little rush from getting their car fixed. And when you know they spent a lot, and it's kind of hidden, it's like all internal engine stuff, get your GS to really spit shine that car. That makes them at least feel good about the money they just spent with you. If it's something when they walk up, they can see it. Okay, maybe you don't got to do as much. But if they can't see it, really try to, make it look like you appreciate them spending that kind of money. But when you do this, they're willing to receive from you. See, your job is to polish the turd and make it pretty. Look, everybody, it's not a turd anymore. You go, Aaron, that's still a turd. No, it's not. It is not a turd. No, it's not. And just stand there and argue. That's your job. See, without you, the sales don't go around and around and around. They stop. I want you to understand this last piece. If you can get this guy here to have affection for you, favor towards you, they will fall on the sword for you. But you continually blaming them for everything and pointing out what they're doing wrong, just look at what you're doing wrong. We all are self-critical enough. And all it takes is one person choosing to be mature first. Aaron, they're still not being mature. I have been mature all year. Bull. Come on. So let's have some fun real quick. Ring, ring. Everybody's like, oh, snap. Ring, ring.
Thanks for choosing your auto care. This is Justin. How may I help you?
Hey, man, I've got a Suburban. Do you work on Suburbans?
We sure do. What do you got going on today?
Okay, so I've got this rattle noise in the back. How much is that to fix? Why are you laughing at me? You already failed. Okay. Ring, ring.
Hey, you call Motorworks. Is that? How may I help you?
So I got this Volvo. It's got this noise when I come to a stop. How much is that to fix?
All right. Well, first off, what's your name, sir?
Ooh.
Have you been here before?
My name is Aaron Stokes. I have not been here before.
Thank you for choosing us today. As far as your Volvo, could be a lot of different things. If you'd be able to bring it down sometime this afternoon, I got appointments at 2 and 4.
Okay.
I want my technicians to take a look at it, and we get some ideas and go from there.
So you can't tell me how much it'd be over the phone?
Not with any accuracy, sir.
And how come?
There's too many variations. I mean, it could be anything.
But I told you what it is. It's a squeak.
It's a squeak. What's squeaking, though? That's what we don't.
But you're the professional.
I still need to see it.
Ask him a question. Ask him a question.
So you did really good. It was a little clunky because everybody's staring at you, I know. But everybody remember that anytime script. Just divert to it. It has to be just ingrained in you. Anytime you're experiencing a squeak with your wife's Volvo, you need to have that checked out by one of my ASC certified technicians. Is now a good time. Or if you want to do the 2 to 4, it doesn't matter. But you've got to take control anytime, dude. And that's just crazy. And then it should trigger something in your memory, and you should just go into automatic pilot. You don't have to think. All right. Yeah, you ready? Ring, ring. Johan, so I got what do y'all not work on? A Ford Mustang. Do y'all work on those?
Absolutely. May I have
Oh, he didn't challenge me. Aaron.
Okay. Have you been in before?
Only once when I tried to ambush Ryan.
Well, I got you. May I have your phone number, please?
615-424, blah, 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 blah. I saw people picking up pins. I was like, crap. I'm sorry. I was laughing too hard. I'm sorry.
So what's going on with the Mustang, and what year is it?
So it makes a clunkety clunkety clunk noise. It's a 2015.
Okay. Anytime you have any type of noise, we'd like to look at it. Get a free 15 minutes complimentary.
How about I hold my phone up to it while it does it?
Anytime you have that kind of noise, the phone does not translate really well.
Oh, okay.
Look at it.
Oh, okay.
Take your time.
He's really going for it. I was waiting for you to say, please, at the end. You're good. You're good. Good job. But you, ring, ring.
Thank you for calling Prestige European. My name is Rich. How can I help you?
So, Rich, I've got a bass boat. It's got some trouble starting in the morning.
Okay. My cars.
Okay. He didn't rattle.
Tried to start the boat.
He's in it, isn't he? Well, it was just winterized, just cracked it out. It's just not wanting to start. I hope I turned those batteries on, though. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, is the boat in the water or on land? Are you able to get it to us?
Man, I mean, look at this guy adapting. This is amazing. It's on land. I'll hook it up to my truck, but I'd really like to just save some time. Can you tell me how much it'd be? I'd hate to get over there and find out you're a ripoff and have to leave.
Unfortunately, if I could tell you over the phone, I'd be on that boat right now. But I do have some time.
Woo! This guy's got it. All right, other owners, you know this is neutral ground. Y'all ever seen John Wick? Remember whenever you're at the hotel, you're not allowed to snipe anybody. So while you're here, you're not allowed to steal anybody else's advisor. He's got it. This is awesome. All right, ring, ring.
Thank you for calling Midwest Auto Care.
She did a oh crap right beforehand.
I did. I will admit it.
Everybody's going, I'm going to look down, maybe you won't call me. So I got a question. I've got this weird scenario where my son takes the car. Every time he leaves, it makes this crazy screech noise. I know he's not peeling out. He would never do that.
Sir, when is most convenient for you or your son to bring the vehicle in? I can have one of my certified technicians.
But what do you do if you don't trust your son?
You need to sit him down and have a very serious conversation of if he's being responsible with the vehicle.
Whoa, do you do sit-downs like that for a fee?
Yes.
How much? You're supposed to say, anytime you have an issue with your son, bring him down. Good job. I won't pick on owners. I'll shy away. I won't pick on my staff. What? No, I won't. Ring, ring.
Thank you for calling Goose Automotive. This is Karen. How may I help you?
I'm doing awesome. Or you said, how can I help you? You work for Goose in San Antonio? Awesome. He's a good dude. My Ford Taurus, like the old ones that look like the RoboCop version, how much would it be to get brakes on that?
What's going on with your brakes if you're needing to replace them?
My cousin Vinny said I need brakes.
Is it making any noise?
No, just cousin Vinny, he's really smart. He knows a lot about cars.
Well, we do a courtesy inspection on brakes. I'd be happy to bring your car down today.
Courtesy is in like free?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
And we can
What else do you do for free?
we can do any type of inspection for you. We take a look at it and give you
So can you diagnose the whole car for free?
no, that we cannot do, but I can actually give you some time where we can actually look at it.
Okay. All right. And how much does that cost?
Right now, it's a courtesy, so you don't have to charge you.
But like when you find out what's wrong, I know there's a bait and switch. I can't trust you guys, you mechanics.
It all depends on what's going on with your car.
Okay.
If it's something that we have to further diagnose, then we'll let you know.
Okay. I'll let you off. She has great tone, felt very sincere, even though I was making her laugh. Ring, ring. She said, no. You need to, I guess the way you could help me is come pick up the car and tell me what's wrong for free and bring it back so I can go to your competitor and get it fixed. Someone's going to do this to you, and they're going to be very aggressive.
I can most certainly get you a tow out there. Would you like to give me your address and name?
So the tow will be free?
I'll take care of it for now.
For now.
Until the car gets here, then we'll...
So you're going to charge me later. So it's free for an hour. Ma'am, are you making fun of me? I'll let you off the hook. So see, what'll happen is customers are going to call you up and you're going to hear some crazy scenario. Anybody know what a smart car is? So we had a client that kept bringing it back over and over. A guy may remember this. Over and over and over, they kept bringing it back, and they kept getting mad at us because the axles kept breaking. Turns out the son was flooring it in reverse, then throwing it in drive and popping wheelies. And if y'all don't know, those things are rear-wheel drive, and the engine's in the back. And it's pretty cool when it pops a wheelie. Until it breaks, then it's not so cool. So we had to show the video to the dad, and then he dealt with the son. But you have to eat a lot of crow sometimes. Customers are going to come in. You don't know if their husband has died, their wife has died, if their father or mother, son, daughter, anybody has had something serious go wrong, if they just got a divorce, whatever. And you got to say to yourself, they are treating me really, really badly right now. I don't like them very much. There's something desperately wrong with this person, but I have to forgive them because whatever's going on in their life must be a lot worse than what's going on in mine. If you don't remember anything else from my little talk today, I'm just going to ask that you remember that you're dealing with people, and people aren't perfect, just like you're not perfect. And they're scared when they show up at your shop. They've been told by the media, they've been told by culture, they've been told by everyone that mechanics are ripoffs, which is not true. They pay more for a pair of buckle jeans than they do for an oil change. And the sad thing is, when they show up and they do all that, it's going to cause a reaction in you, and you're going to want to hate them. You're going to want to slash their tires, and you're going to be very, very frustrated. They're going to call your integrity into question, and you're not going to get it. You're going to be frustrated as to why. I'm just going to ask that you remember they're human. Forgive them. Let them go. Water off a duck's back. Carry that burden for now. And then remember, when you hang up the phone, and I joked about jumping off the stage, you need to let the burden stay on them. Because the burden they feel is what will force them to say yes and finally feel relief. If you make the mistake of taking the burden off their back and putting it onto yours, then the client will end up not having enough pressure to push them towards yes. There must be so much negative pressure, so much pressure. They are in physical pain until they say yes. So when you hear me talk about in the videos and you hear these great teachers talk about reminding them of their pain, reminding them of the frustration they have, reminding them of the irritation of the broken car, the check engine light, the Christmas tree, the rattle, the noise, the leak, Let the pressure do its work. It will naturally birth a baby. Don't force it. If you force it, you're slimy. Get into the pocket, lead them through the pocket, and let it do its work. Okay? They're humans. Forgive them. Don't worry about it. Let it go. And the moment you can do that, this job gets a lot easier when you go home at night. I have a feeling a lot of you going home and you're carrying that burden, customers being angry with you, the stress, the pressure, the speed of the job. You need to let all that go away when you put the key in the door and you lock the building. It's not your car. Let the pressure sit on them. It has to sit on them. Your job is just to perform once they say yes. Get it done on time. And if you communicate and just remind them that you're going to call them back at certain times and you do it, you will be fine. Nothing will go wrong. The only way it will go wrong is if you don't call them, you don't keep your word, you don't get it done on time. And even if you don't get it done on time, just call them and tell them it's not going to be done on time way in advance. Would you rather have a small pow or would you rather have a big pow? Waiting just makes the bomb bigger. So I appreciate all of you greatly. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for being a part of Sales Fix. Thank you so much for going through the course, working it, studying, listening to your teachers, doing what they're telling you to do. Thank you so much for pushing yourselves. I just want to encourage you, please keep doing so. Please keep pushing yourself to the edge. Remember, what you know right now is just this much and what you're going to know by the time you retire someday or you move on in life. So keep learning, because the more you grow and the more you know, the more you're worth and the more you can make. You can do this. Trust the systems. Remember what I told you about memory. Let go of that and start trusting the system. If you hang on to the memory piece, you'll never grow as an advisor and be able to sell more. The stress will lock you up. Y'all got this. Go back and crush it. Make some money. Make money for your family and make money for yourself. Thank you so much.